without much ado, I would now request Anupam Tiwari, who is an expert in cybersecurity, to actually give his views. And as he speaks, I would like him to cover certain topics as to what is the biggest challenge in terms of cybersecurity that we envisage when we integrate these next-gen technologies into the defense, and how are these technologies evolving in the defense in today's scenario? What are its biggest vulnerabilities, and how can our nation safeguard our critical military and intelligence systems? Is what we actually look forward from him to be speaking about. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, IPGF. Thank you, General Chandele, for having given me always the opportunity to speak and share my little wisdom, arc of wisdom. So I'll quickly start. So for the subjects that I'll cover in next about 7 to 8 minutes, since I have got about in the panel about 6 speakers, about 7 to 8 minutes, I take it. So in these slides, probably you will find one word that will be overwhelming, and rest of the text will be just an extension to it explaining that term. So no need to read that, you have to just remember the words that are mentioned in bold. So the illiterate, I begin with this, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot learn, who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. So this is the exact requirement of today vis-a-vis yesterday. So I'll be focusing on security and privacy. So this basically confines to a whole new world of glossary. So probably most of the terms what I mentioned here, what I discuss here will not be probably aware by most of the audience here. So first of all, I start with this. So when we speak of next gen technology, we are speaking of AI, we are speaking of ML, we are speaking of IoT, ML IoT and so many other things. So we are always happy about the things that this thing will happen. If we apply LLM, this thing will happen. If we apply GPT or if we apply this, we'll do this magic, we'll get this analytics, we'll get this better informed decision making. But we never speak of what goes behind the scene. So behind the scene, first of the word that I mentioned here is alignment faking. So without going into the nitty-gritties of what exactly it is, it basically is a scenario in the back end of AI which is working for you, which has been adopted, deployed by you, wherein AI over a period of time, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, depending on what exactly it is meant for in the hidden inside, whether it is a person, whether it is an organization, whether it is a state. Alignment faking, so it will be able to align you in the direction in which AI desires. So you have an opinion today that this is good, this is bad, this is okay. So that kind of alignment, so this good, this bad, over a period of time it will be able to change it. Good will become bad, bad will become good, and you'll never come to know that this has happened. Then the next term is persuasive AI. Again, it is an extension of alignment faking, but persuasive AI, the name itself is, you can understand and make some meaning out of it. It will be able to persuade you into something which you never think of. Today you are aligned with a thought process that today you are aligned with state A. You are aligned with state B. You are not aligned with state C. ये दो हमारे adversary हैं, but over a period of time, whether it is the force, whether it is the civilian fraternity, diplomats, etc., what kind of exposure they get, they will be persuaded into something else. That's a long-term thing, and long-term doesn't mean 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. It means 6 to 7, 8, 9 months it starts reflecting. Differential privacy. So I'll give you an example of what exactly it means. We have a original data. I'll give you an example, 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is the original data. Output 7. Now what it is 1 plus 6 is equal to 7. What is 8 minus 1? It is 7. What is 10 minus 3? It is 7. So here in these 3-4 examples that I am giving, I have taken input as 3 plus 4 as the original data, but I insert some noise in it, wherein the output 7 is not affected. So I always get my kind of decision, my kind of output that I desire, but with a noisy input. So with that noisy input, that's called differential privacy, and it has got immense applications. Anybody interested to know, I have more details on this and we can discuss. Privacy budget. So anytime you use a data point in AI, anytime you give a prompt, you ask a query, so you are generating you are triggering some data. So that data, when it comes as a response, there is some budget, privacy budget, which is exposed. So this privacy budget has got nothing to do with the financial sanctions that we keep moving around, ki mera 6,000 crore, 8,000 crore ka mission, and nothing doing with that. It is how much of privacy are you ready to compromise. Differentially private synthetic data, that's a combination of differential privacy and synthetic data again. Okay, now you read this sentence, I'll give you about 10-15 seconds. There are 3 interesting terms here: Bayesian program learning method, transfer learning, and extend samples. So this extract is from a policy report which I read few months back, peculiar to China. What are they doing with AI? So while we are happy about deploying AI here and there and everywhere, but how are they extending it? This is not going to be this thing for next 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. Things will change and the things will become more granular in nature. So here what I am interested to tell you is Bayesian programming learning method. So we always are worried about मेरे पास data नहीं है या मेरे पास data बहुत कम है, मेरे को पहले data लाना है. So now they are working on this mathematical model, Bayesian programming learning method. Now Bayesian programming learning method was a paper which was published in 2015 by Google DeepMind. And where did it find the mention? In a Chinese policy, wherein they are applying this method of deriving from small data sets exactly highly efficient outputs as deemed. So this presentation will be available to you. So since I am moving a little fast, I have to cover few more terms that are more interesting. Eidetic memorization. Eidetic memorization is something like when you ask your prompt, any LLM, okay, give me a random address. Now that random address is not a juggle, it is some privacy lost from some database, random address. So now analogically I am giving you here random address, but this can be something else. Give me random something, some classified thing I may ask. So that kind of learning has to be enabled in that AI model, and that AI model has to be benchmarked to avoid all these things, negate all these things. GLLMs. We have heard of LLMs, large language models, but what are generative large language multimodal models? Now this is an extension of LLMs which basically works on the combination of voice, text and video. Epistemological limitation. Okay, suppose again to explain you, I do not know maths. मेरे को maths बिल्कुल भी नहीं आता है, and I ask LLM, okay, teach me maths. So it will start teaching me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the numerics. It will start teaching me subtraction, addition, multiplication and division, and I get to know all this arithmetic. कि मेरे को division आ गया, multiplication आ गया, I am able to multiply. So LLM says now, okay, now you are through with maths, so you are complete with maths. So that's the limitation of a new learner. That's not complete maths, we know, but from an LLM perspective, from a data perspective, from an AI perspective, the prompt, the response is again manipulated. It will only give you a limited arc of wisdom. Knowledge distillation. These all terms probably most of you would be hearing for the first time now. Things are getting more, and all these terms what I am mentioning, these are not last 3, 4, 5 years terms. These have been here in the AI domain since 2010, 11, 12. All the papers which mention all these terms. Knowledge distillation is from a larger model, wherein you don't want to expose your larger model, you will be able to distill, like it is an analogical word from that distillation part, distill small model without compromising on the data which is available in the large model, which is available as a training data in the large model. You will be able to distill it as a smaller model. इसके advantage, you will be able to work in a lesser hardware. fMRI+AI, functional magnetic resonance imaging plus AI. You have to Google this to know what exactly it is. You will be able to map your thoughts. The computer AI will be able to map what you are thinking, what will be able to image what you are exactly dreaming about. So that kind of AI functions, AI things are there already. These are no research papers, there are deployments to it. Of course, we know with such kind of possibilities, what can be the repercussions of what kind of cost model will be available. So we hear of machine learning, but then there is machine unlearning necessary today. We do not want, we have deployed a model and we come to know कि इसमें ये नहीं होना चाहिए, ये नहीं होना चाहिए, this should be banned or this should not be prompted. So we have to be aware of how to unlearn a machine model. Machine learning nahi, machine unlearning. So there are steps to it. So please let me know, sir, whenever it is about to finish. Hardware bias in AI. So hardware bias, again very interesting thing. So you have a fully working AI model, software, API and everything is working. Now how do you run it? You can use an AI hardware like NVIDIA chips. You can use a TPU, tensor processing unit from Google, or you can use any other processor. Now the interesting thing is there are research papers to it that if you use different AI hardware, simply if you use different AI hardware for the same AI model, you will get different responses. So are we aware? We always think कि मैंने deploy कर दिया है, but we have to be aware of the nitty-gritties of what goes behind that processor which is giving the output. So this is again a very interesting thing which generally not spoken of. Hardware Trojans. Hardware Trojans has been an issue even when AI probably was not spoken much. Your processor, your motherboard, how will you audit it? Hardware auditing itself has been a sardard for LEAs, the law enforcement professionals. But when we speak of AI context, what kind of Trojans can be embedded there? And currently there are no ways, except for doing individual processor audits, which is again a Herculean task. Benchmarking. How do you check whether this LLM is good or bad, how efficient it is? So there are multiple benchmarking models in AI. So now when you Google or when you search or when you GPT benchmark for LLM, कि इसमें कौन सा यूज करूँ मैं, इसमें Google Nap Time यूज करूँ या F1 score यूज करूँ. F1 score again based on recall and precision. I will not explain that, but these are simple benchmark models. Google Nap Time, Truthful QA, Hotpot QA, ये सारे benchmark models हैं for quantifying a good LLM or a bad LLM or a any kind of efficiency, how much it is maintaining. But how do you find it whether the benchmark itself is okay or not? Because ये सारे benchmark जो हैं, these have been all introduced by the respective domains. Facebook ने अपना launch किया हुआ है, Google ने अपना launch किया हुआ है, and they are doing absolutely fine job. But cross LLMs, it is a difficult. Jailbreaking LLMs. So you have a LLM, you work on your respective GPTs installed, whether it is Perplexity or Bard or Gemini or anything. So developer will always be at an advantage of what he induces in that. So jailbreaking LLM means it will be able to break the guardrails which have been imposed by the AI model developer. So there are ways and means. So it is no more that that virus, antivirus, malware, etc. We have to be worried. We have to move ahead. Jailbreaking LLMs. How is it possible? Data poisoning. Prompt engineering. Okay, prompt engineering. So prompt, when you ask a question to the GPT, that's a prompt. Now that prompt again has become an engineering today. When you go beyond, if 3, 4 lines, 5 lines, how do you prompt? Prompt में अगर आपने 1.5 पेज का 2 पेज का prompt दिया है to get a response, that the context modeling about 32K, आज की डेट में अगर GPT का 16K है या Perplexity या Bard का या Grok का I think 32K है. So that kind of prompts we have to be capable of making that kind of prompts. Only then we'll be able to drive the true benefits. So with this probably I'll just skip, I'll not explain, but I'll give you these terms. Infocalypse, tabula rasa. If at all anybody interested to know, I can discuss it later. And okay, this is a very interesting thing, just try and read before I close. If you are able to make any sense out of it, probably no. This is a language which was generated in real time between bots. There is no cryptography now. अगर दो bots को बात करनी है without any kind of human intervention, so they will be able to chat in a different language altogether, which probably will not be able to make head and tail out of it. So Viksit Bharat or Surakshit Bharat. So probably I look for Surakshit Bharat, and Surakshit Bharat will only be possible when the indigenization takes place. सोने की चिड़िया पक्का बनेंगे, trillions of 5 trillion, 10 trillion, 15 trillion, whatever, but ये चिड़िया उड़नी भी चाहिए. We should not be bound by that technological slavery. So that 2047 जो है, that word should be read as 24 into 7. If we have to work 24 into 7 only, then probably we may be able to achieve something in 2047. Thank you, sir. Again, this is the repeat thing. Thank you.